On July 19th, 1977, the world teacher, the Christ Maitreya, head of the spiritual hierarchy, emerged from his ancient retreat and is now in the modern world. With his disciples, the masters of the wisdom, he will inaugurate the new age of synthesis and brotherhood.
Good morning and welcome to our World Teacher Programme on Wellington's Access Radio 783 AM, presented by Teresa and David on behalf of Share International New Zealand.
Last month we introduced the background story of the emergence of the World Teacher for those new to this information. That podcast is still available on accessradio.org.nz. Today we'll highlight Maitreya's teachings and finish with Mr. Krem's inspiring description of the Day of Decoration. But for starters, we have an article by Benjamin Krem's master, which although written in January 1993, appears even more relevant today. It's entitled The One Who Knocks and begins.
There comes a time in the life of every nation when a period of soul-searching must take place, when the ideals enshrined in its constitution, written or not, must be looked at again in the light of actual achievement, and a reassessment of that achievement made.
When this is done with honesty and candour, a new and sobering realism will replace the present self-congratulation in which the leaders of many nations indulge, hoping thereby to maintain their faltering grip on the lives of their peoples.
Their time is all but over. Events shortly to occur will redistribute the power of governments and emancipate the people. The sham democracy of today will give way to true participation and open a new chapter in man's long quest for justice and freedom.
Even as these words are being written, a plan is being set in motion, which will speed this process and bring joy to the pain-wracked hearts of millions. Patiently they wait, the unexpectant poor, herded like cattle in the parched and pitiless desert, homeless and workless in the proud cities of the world, farming barren rock in the high plateau. They await deliverance, which now knocks upon the door. Soon they will see their deliverer. Many have already done so and live but to see his face again.
In the battlefields which disgrace this time, he appears with equal grace to all. Soon the many miracles he has wrought will endear him to the hearts of men and women everywhere. The healing waters will be discovered, one by one, and a great cleansing of men's temples will begin.
History teaches that nothing happens twice in the exact same way. Time and evolution ensure renewal of events. Those who await a saviour in the manner of the past will wait in vain. New times demand new methods, and new problems new solutions.
Thus it is that Maitreya addresses himself to the present situation, to the problems which beset all men, hunger and strife, planetary equilibrium, sharing and justice, the ways of peace and war. That he comes to aid men is not in doubt, but he comes primarily to teach. Heed then his teachings, for they contain the essence of life, and by their guidance and inspiration can you reach the stars.
When you are asked, what will the future bring, tell them this. A bright star has forsaken its rightful place in the firmament and has chosen to walk among men, bringing gifts as yet unseen on earth. By name Maitreya, this blessed one will teach men the ways of what they can become.
He will show them the secret entrance to the heart of God and lead them therein. He will walk with men and angels and relate these two. By example and teaching, he will show the way to self-salvation. He will regenerate and rejuvenate the world. Listen for his knock.
Next up is an article from 1983 by John O'Donnell, entitled Then and Now. John O'Donnell, one of our long-serving but sadly departed co-workers from New Zealand, has made an analysis of the messages of Maitreya, comparing them with the teachings of Jesus 2,000 years ago. He also draws a parallel between Jesus' prophecies and current events. He begins,
It is my experience that many people, when they are introduced to the book The Reappearance of the Christ and the Masters of Wisdom by Benjamin Creme, immediately think of Christian teaching and Bible prophecies. There have been many claims that the so-called second coming is about to take place, and, naturally, people are doubtful and want to relate the information to something they are familiar with.
In reality, the information given by Benjamin Creme is not based upon biblical prophecy or on the teachings of any religious group, but is based upon his own experience and upon information given out over the last 100 years by many people, especially by Madame Blavatsky and by Alice A. Bailey.
There has been an enormous amount of information made available which clarifies many religious issues and makes clear the true nature of the Christ and of his relation to other advanced souls on this planet. Nevertheless, since the divine plan for this planet is a continually unfolding one, and the Christ has continuous influence over its implementation, it can be expected that there will be a close connection between events of today and those of 2,000 years ago. I hope that this comparison will bring this out.
Then Christ repeatedly referred to himself as the Son of Man.
Now he is using this term again. For example, in message number 15, January 31st, 1978, he says, "Tell them that the Son of Man has returned."
Then he associated with the humble and underprivileged.
Now he was said to be in a well-known country of the modern world, in dark places where hunger and strife abound. In fact, he is in an Indian Pakistani community in the East End of London, and once again is associating with the underprivileged.
Then he said that he was sent by the Father.
Now he says, "I am returned to you by the one you call God."
Then he came as a man amongst men, in order to teach men directly.
Now, once again he is come in as a man among men, and in message number 97 he said, "Many there are who doubt my presence. Many there are who seek for me in vain, looking upwards to the sky, and finding me not, cast me out from their hearts." The simple truth, my brothers, is that I am a man among men, living among you as such, knowing and feeling your griefs and needs, loving and caring for you, desiring to share with you the blessings of God.
Then he said, "I am in you and you in me."
Now, in message number 10, he said, "I am with you and in you. I seek to express that which I am through you. For this I come."
Then he did not reveal his true nature, but allowed those who were capable of recognizing him to do so. He said, "Whom do men say I am?"
Now he is doing the same. Benjamin Creme has indicated the area where he is to be found, but he is not proclaiming himself to be the Christ. That would infringe men's free will and would be contrary to the instructions he gave to beware of false prophets.
Then some people accepted him, but most did not.
Now the same is happening again. In message number 10 he said, "Many will follow me and see me as their guide. Many will know me not." Those who have responded to the energies of love, peace and synthesis which have been flowing from him will recognize him, provided that their minds are not occluded by restrictive dogmas.
Then he gave us the parable of the Good Samaritan, to show us that we must share with all people, regardless of nation, race or religion.
Now he is extending this teaching to the international sphere, and insists that governments must help governments, and share the produce of the world.
Then he said that he had other flocks beside them, the Jews.
Now it is known that all the main religions know him, but by different names.
Then he said that he was going where they could not follow.
Now, with the knowledge now available, it appears that he may have meant either that he was going to the higher planes, or that he was going to his retreat in the Himalayas, or both.
Then he said that he would return at the end of the age.
Now, this is the end of the Piscean age and the beginning of the Aquarian age. It is now known that it is the practice of the hierarchy to send a teacher at the end of every age to prepare the way for the new civilization which will follow in the new age.
Then he said that at the time of his return there would be wars and rumours of wars.
Now, this century has seen the most devastating wars in history, and we face the possibility of annihilation through nuclear war.
Then he said there would be disasters.
Now, this century has seen major disasters. First there were the 2 world wars, and now there is famine which is killing millions of people.
Then he said that he would come as a thief in the night.
Now, in July 1977, he travelled to London unknown to all except a few.
Then he said that he would descend through the clouds.
Now, in The Reappearance of the Christ by Alice A. Bailey, the Master D.K. points out that these words would have seemed extraordinary 2,000 years ago, but with the development of air travel, they are now commonplace. In fact, the Christ came to his point of focus by aeroplane.
Then his coming was prepared by John the Baptist.
Now, his coming is being prepared by a number of people, especially by Alice A. Bailey and Benjamin Creme.
Another question concerns the coming of the Antichrist, which is believed by many to precede the coming of Christ. It is known that, in fact, the Antichrist is an energy, a destructive aspect of the energy of will, an energy which comes from the first person of the Trinity. This energy has its legitimate place in destroying old organizations and ways of living in order to make way for the new. But, as with all energies, it can be misused. This energy was focused through Hitler and 6 evil Nazis. At the time of the Second World War, thousands of people believed that Hitler was the Antichrist. In effect, they were right.
You're listening to the World Teacher Programme on Wellington's Access Radio 783 AM. We'll continue now with the essence of Maitreya's teachings, sourced from the introduction to Maitreya's Mission Volume 3 by Benjamin Creme, and also from his book Maitreya's Teachings, The Laws of Life. Mr. Creme begins by saying,
Those who await Maitreya as a religious teacher will probably not recognize him. He has said, I have not come to found a new religion. People should continue to evolve within their own tradition, whatever it is. Maitreya has not come to create followers. In fact, he says, if you follow me, in the sense of running after him, claiming him, trying to put him in your pocket, then you will lose me.
Maitreya says he has come to teach humanity the art of self or God realization. He equates humanity with the self and the self with God. He says you are the self, an immortal being. Our pain, he says, our suffering, our problems are the result of the fact that we identify with everything and anything other than the self, the immortal being of which we are a physical plane reflection.
He says, ask yourself, who am I? You will find that you identify with the physical body. We look in the mirror and say, that is me. In this way, we are subject to all the limitations of the physical body. The physical body is mortal. It lives so long and then it dies, and we have to come back into incarnation in a new body. So, we cannot be the physical body. It is only a vehicle.
Or we identify with our feelings, our sensations, our energies, our emotions. These are not us. They were not there yesterday. Perhaps they will not be there tomorrow. They are unstable, never the same. If we are an immortal being, they cannot be us.
Or we identify with our mind, with the creations of our mind, our memory. We think we are Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so with so many children. That is not us. That is our memory, the creation of our mind. We say we are Christian, Hindu, Muslim or Buddhist. That is not us. That is a belief, an ideology.
We are an immortal being and therefore not subject to the limitations of the physical body, the emotional body or the mind. We are not a fascist, a democrat, a Christian or a Buddhist. These are all constructions of the mind. We are, above all these transient beliefs, an immortal being.
How do we become that immortal being here and now on the physical plane? Maitreya says his way is the most direct, the way of growing awareness. It involves the practice of 3 attitudes.
1. Honesty of mind. Almost no one has honesty of mind. It is not just being honest and not stealing other people's property. All of us think one thing, say something else, and do something else again. For honesty of mind, what we think, what we say, and what we do must be in a straight line.
2. Sincerity of spirit, being who we are, distinct and individual, not trying to be like someone else, not imitating other people, but speaking from the heart to the heart, not speaking to provide others with some false idea of ourselves, manipulating them so that they admire or like us. It is being honest in oneself, sincere. Few people are truly inwardly sincere.
The 3rd attitude to practice is detachment. Detachment is the awareness that we are not the body, the feelings or the mind, gradually detaching ourselves from that kind of identification. If we are attached to our emotions, for example, and someone plays a dirty trick on us, if our reaction is one of strong indignation and anger, then we are not detached. If we are detached, we will not react with indignation and anger at such a slight.
What we find in practice is that these 3 attitudes are mutually supportive. The more aware we become, the more honest we become, the more sincere. The more sincere we become, the more honest we manage to be. The more sincere and honest we become, the more detached we become. The more detached we become, the more sincere and the more honest. These 3 work together, like a yeast.
When Maitreya is teaching openly in the world, has declared himself and begun his program of stimulus and guidance in the political and economic field, he will also teach humanity the art of self-realization. The more we practice these 3 attitudes, the greater self-awareness develops. The more self-awareness develops, the more self-realization becomes possible. Self-awareness leads to self-realization.
What is self-realization? It is not a religion, an ideology, or a belief. It is the goal of life, which, when achieved, makes us a master. All of the masters are self-realized beings.
Remain open-minded, Maitreya says. Enjoy life. When you enjoy life, you are sitting on the beach looking at the vast ocean. At that moment you experience serenity, tranquility, detachment within. You do not think of your bank account at that moment. Nobody lectures you at that moment. The gift of life flowers within you. Experience this and you will realize you are a unique person. You are unique in this creation.
Maitreya teaches that everyone needs their inner space, where there is no direction, no one telling you where to go and what to do. No one can lead you. You are born to be aware of yourself, to know the master in yourself. Your inner space is sacred. It is where all things, all problems dissolve. It is where you go when you tell others you are tired and frightened and fed up, when you want to be left alone to find your own space.
According to Maitreya, you have been given that space so that the confusion and chaos around you will dissolve. You must never surrender that space to anyone except your true self. Meditation is really a journey back to that space to find peace and happiness.
Finally, to end our program today, we present Benjamin Creme's uplifting description of the Pentecostal experience of the Day of Declaration, as it will be known, when the teacher for all, Maitreya, declares himself openly to the entire world.
Maitreya has come for the whole of the coming age of Aquarius, 2,500 years. Very soon we will see him. He has been invited to appear on a major television network in America and also in Japan. This will lead, by appearances throughout the world, to the Day of Declaration.
When he declares himself openly to the entire world, it will be an extraordinary experience for all. The television networks will be linked together by satellite for this event. At a given time, different in each time zone of course, his face will appear on the television sets of the world.
Maitreya is omniscient, omnipresent, and will mentally overshadow the minds of all humanity simultaneously. Each of us will hear him in our own language. I cannot tell you the details of that message, but no doubt he will outline who he is, where he came from, his group of masters, the spiritual hierarchy and their return to the world, the problems of the world and how they can be solved, the life ahead for humanity, an extraordinary vision of the future, the technology of the future, giving mastery over the forces of nature.
He will touch on the two great laws that dominate all life on this planet, the law of cause and effect, or the law of karma, as it is called in the East, and the law of rebirth, the fact of reincarnation as the method of evolution on this planet. He will give a vision of a better life for humanity, living more simply in correct relationship, not only to each other, but to the planet of which we are a part.
He will touch on the needs of the environment, the ecology of the planet, how we must conserve and correctly use the resources of the world. And he will show how a simpler life can be lived happily, more fulfillingly, when everyone is sharing the resources and living that life. Everything, however, will not change overnight. Changes will take place quickly, but with a minimum disruption of the existing social order.
While Maitreya is giving this message, this vision of the future, and outlining his role and that of the masters in the future, his energy, the energy of love, will flow out in tremendous potency through the hearts of all humanity. This will evoke an intuitive, heartfelt response to the message.
Simultaneously, on the physical plane, there will be hundreds of thousands of miracle cures, healings throughout the planet. Two things will determine who will be healed and who will not: the law of karma and the faith of the individual. If the karma allows and the faith is strong enough, that person will be healed.
This experience will give humanity a vision of its essential nature, bring it back to its true nature as souls, and give it a vision and purpose to go forward in life and to create the new civilization along better and more just lines. Our response to this experience will determine the entire future on this planet.
Maitreya will present us with a choice: Either we continue as we are now in the old, greedy, selfish, complacent ways of the past and destroy ourselves, or we accept the principle of sharing, accept that we are one, and begin the creation of a civilization such as this world has never yet seen. Maitreya knows already our answer, our choice. As he said in message number 11, "My heart tells me your answer, your choice, and is glad."
And that's it for our program today on Wellington's Access Radio 783 AM. Our next one will be on Saturday the 25th of February at the usual time of 10 AM.
For more information, please call us on 06 36 46 101. That's 06 36 46 101. To ask for our monthly free of charge newsletter, to inquire about Mr. Krem's books, including Maitreya's teachings, The Laws of Life, or to subscribe to the Share International magazine, the number is 04 234 1133. That's 04 234 1133, or write to P.O. Box 9576 Wellington. The website is share-international.org.
There'll be a Share International stall at the following two festivals. Tomorrow, Sunday the 29th of January, come and visit us at Te Rā o Te Raukura, Te Whiti Park, White Lines East, Waihwetu, Lower Hutt, from 10 AM to 4 PM. Organisers say every year it attracts up to 20,000 people. It's a family-oriented festival with a focus on health, art and education, with kids' amusement rides and over 100 stalls with a massive array of fine foods and crafts.
And on Monday the 6th of February from 11 AM till 5 PM, we'll be at the Waitangi Day Festival of the Elements, Te Rapraha Arena, 17 Parumoana Street, Porirua. Another fun day out for the whole family.
You have been listening to Teresa and David on behalf of Share International New Zealand. You can listen again to this program or previous ones online at accessradio.org.nz. Click on Programs and scroll down to the World Teacher link.